All right, let's get into it. Pope Francis denounces backward attitudes of conservatives in the U.S. Catholic Church. Well, the Catholic Church is not a Christian church. Catholic Church stands for universal, while the biblical born again church stands. The Greek word for the biblical born again church is ecclesia, means the called out ones. Pope Francis has blasted the backwardness of some conservatives in the U.S. Catholic Church, saying that they have replaced faith with ideology and that a correct understanding of Catholic doctrine allows for change over time. Francis comments were, were an acknowledgement of the divisions in the U.S. Catholic Church, which has been split between progressives and conservatives, found support in the doctrinal papacies of St. John Paul II and Benedict um, the I can't read that Roman numeral, particularly on issues of abortion and same sex. Many conservatives have blasted Francis' emphasis instead on social justice issues such as the environment and the poor, while also branding as heretical his opening to letting divorced and civilly remarried Catholics receive the sacraments. Well, I mean, they've been doing that for ages now. All right. Francis made the comments in a private meeting with Portuguese members of his Jesuit religious order while visiting Lisbon on August 5th. The Jesuit journal La Cabalita Católica, which is vetted by the Vatican Secretary of State, published a transcript of the encounter Monday. During the a Portuguese Jesuit told Francis that he had suffered during a recent sabbatical year in the United States because he came across many Catholics, including some U.S. bishops, who criticized Francis' 10-year papacy as well as today's Jesuits. The 86-year-old Argentine acknowledges point, saying that there was a very strong organized reactionary attitude in the U.S. church, which he called backward. He warned that such an attitude leads to a climate of closure, which was erroneous. Doing this, you lose the true tradition and you turn to ideologies to have support. In other words, ideologies replace faith. But this is these people represent the Sadducees and Pharisees of Jesus' day who were against the truth of Christ and wanted the traditions of men. Okay. The vision of the doctrine of the church as a monolith is wrong, he added. When you go backward, you make something closed off, disconnected from the roots of the church, which then has devastating effects on morality. Well, the Catholic Church has never been one for morality. Okay. They've always been this way. It's just now they're in your face. Okay. The Roman Catholic Church is just, it is basically paganism with with the name Jesus slapped onto it. Okay. Uh, they have always been pagan. Constantine took the saints and took their names and put them on Roman and put them on Roman gods. Um, it's basically that's what it is. It's like the Roman Catholic Church is just Rome, okay, just with a Christian veneer. All right, they break the commandments of you don't pray to idols. They pray to Mary. They pray to James. They pray to John. They pray to all these different saints. Okay, and according to the Catholic Church, you have to be dead to be a saint, and they choose if you are to be a saint. Um, well, according to the Bible, you get born again and live for Christ. That makes you a saint, and you endure to the end. That makes you a saint. Okay, and you also have to, blame so-called born-again Christian leaders, all right, who sided with the Catholic Church, okay, because they wanted power, they wanted prestige, they wanted to be liked by the world, okay, and that's not what Jesus commanded, okay. Jesus was against the Catholic Church, All right. The vision of the doctrine of the church as a monologue is wrong. He added, all right. All right, I read that part already. I want to remind these people that backwardness is useless, and they must understand that there's a correct evaluation and the understanding of questions of faith and morals that allows for doctrine to progress and consolidate over time. Francis has previously acknowledged the criticism directed at him from some U.S. conservatives, one quipping that it was an honor to be attacked by Americans. Okay. But, you have to understand something here, though, that they're just showing their true colors. All right. That's basically what he's doing. And look at this. Look at this story right here. Okay. Catholics call for Vatican to embrace women in leadership. LGBTQ community report says. This is who he is. All right. This is who he is. The Catholic Church is just showing it's more of Rome. They worship the devil. They always have. They've always been this way. Just now that the time is at hand, that we're basically in the end times. And sadly, you will still have a majority of the Christian church who claim to be born again, thinking that the Catholic Church is the Christian church. All right. The Catholic Church has its own government, its own army, its bodyguards for the Pope. Jesus didn't walk around with bodyguards, and his followers were usually broke. Okay. You had some churches that were rich, but not to the point where they had bodyguards. Okay. They were chased out of their homes. Okay. They had to live in caves. They lost their professions due to living in countries where that outlawed Christianity. The Roman Catholic Church killed Christians, true Christians. All right. People were burned to death. For having a Bible. The Catholic Church didn't want you reading the Bible. Okay. An unprecedented global canvassing of Catholics has called for the church to take concrete steps to promote women to decision-making roles for a radical inclusion of the LGBTQ plus community and for new accountability measures to check how bishops exercise authority. Women are not allowed to have authority over men when it comes to the church structure and church order. They're not. Okay? Clearly in the Bible, that authority belongs to a man of one wife who could run his household, has a good reputation, who is not a fighter. Okay? You could look this up in the Bible. By now, this is something that every Christian should know. All right? Google is free. The Vatican on Tuesday released the synthesis of a 2-year consultation process, publishing a working document that will form the basis of discussion for a big meeting of bishops and lay people in October. The Synod, as it is known, is a key priority of Pope Francis, reflecting his vision of a church that is more about the faithful rank and file than its priests. Already, Francis has made his mark on the Synod, letting lay people, and in particular women, have a vote alongside bishops. That reform is a concrete step toward what he calls synodality, a new way of being a church that envisions more co-responsibility in governance and the key mission of spreading the Catholic faith. spreading Satanism. The document highlights key concerns that emerged during the consultation process, which began at the local parish level and concluded the 7 continent-wide assemblies. It flagged, in particular, the devastating impact that clergy sexual abuse crisis has had on the faithful, costing the hierarchy its credibility and sparking calls for structural changes to remove their near absolute power. Okay, and that's never going to change. They're just going to move the pedophile priests around to different parishes. The census found a unanimous and crucial call for women to be allowed to access positions of responsibility in governments without raising the prospect of women's ordination to the priesthood. It asked whether new ministries could be created, including the diaconate, a reflection of a years-long call by some women to be ordained deacons in the church. The document noted that most of the continent-wide assemblies and several bishops' conference called for the diaconate question to be considered by the synod. The document also asks what concrete steps the church can take to better welcome LGBTQ people. Do you see what's going on here? This is not the church that's called to be the ecclesia. All right, everyone that wants to be a Christian, they have to lay down their life, be willing to deny themselves to let Christ rule, and that means, perverse sexual lifestyles as well. All right. And others who have felt marginalized and unrecognized by the church, so they don't feel judged. The poor, migrants, the elderly, and disabled, as well as those who are tribal or caste, feel excluded. Perhaps most significantly, the document used the terminology LGBTQ plus persons rather than the Vatican's traditional persons with homosexual tendencies, suggesting a level of acceptance that Francis ushered in a decade ago with his famous "Who am I to judge?" comment. Wow. Like I said, it's becoming more of a Church of Rome. That's what it's doing. All right. Okay. So I'm going to end it here. You can look it up for yourself. And that's about it. We're in the last days, and be prepared. Be prepared. We're going to have a lot of Christians who are going to go for this because they like the freedom it gives, the freedom to sin. Okay. Feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hit the like to make the video go through the algorithm.